Hey everybody, I'm Sam Webb, and today I want to go over every single theme setting possible in Shopify. When I say theme settings, I'm not just talking about your actual theme settings, I'm talking about the settings that you can adjust within sections as well as within section blocks. So to get started, I want to go over some of the sidebar settings, and these give you the ability to provide more information about what somebody's looking at. And there are only two. There's what you'll see here, header, and then there's paragraph. And so these two things are exactly what they sound like. A header is kind of like a title that you can put, and then a paragraph is just some further information to explain it. And if you look, I have a section set up here with all these different settings, and this first one right here is the header, and the second one here is the paragraph. For these settings, you really only need two options. You've got type and you've got content. Type is what you're going to put on every single setting to tell Shopify, what type it is, whether it's a header, whether it's a text, whether it's an image picker. And content is unique to sidebar settings, and it's just the text that's going to be displayed on that sidebar. Now let's get into some of the basic settings. So we've got text and text area. Both of these are a way for you to give your theme users a way to write some text on their site. So you would use text in a situation where somebody's writing something really short, maybe like a headline on their site. And then text area is what you would use if they're gonna write a lot more text, maybe a paragraph's worth of text. Every field beyond this point is going to have a type, an ID, and a label. So if you look at text, we've got type equals text, ID equals text, and label equals text. Now, type is the most important thing. That's what tells Shopify what the setting is. ID is the name of it, the name that you're gonna refer to it when you're writing code. Label is the name that's gonna display to the theme user who's editing content. Info is available on every setting, and it gives more information to the theme user about what this setting actually does. So there will be times where you need this and times where it's obvious enough that you don't need this. Default is available on most settings, but not all of them. And this is just where you would add in some, in this case for text, you would add in some default text. To show you the difference between text and text area on the website, you'll see that text has this kind of small box. Again, it's more for short text. You can type more in here and it'll scroll to the side, but the purpose of this is for shorter text. And if you wanted somebody to type a lot, again, you would use text area where you have more space to see what's being typed. The next two are radio and select. Now I'm grouping those together because they're both a way to select between a group of options. So as you can see, they both have this options array, which contains a group of objects with two values, value being the first one and label being the second. So value is going to be the option that you refer to in code, and label is going to be what shows up in the theme editor. And if I scroll down, it's the exact same for select. And then you'll see we have a default here. In this case, the default is going to reference the value and not the label. So we want option 1 to be the default, so we're going to reference this value here and use it as the default option. And I'm doing the same thing for the select. And let me show you that on the site. So you'll see we have option 1 and option 2 here that we can select. And similar with select, we have option 1 and option 2 that we can select between. Next we have checkbox. A checkbox gives you a Boolean value, so a true or false value that can be selected. I use this a lot when I'm giving my clients a way to toggle a specific feature on and off. That's a big use case for it. Let me show it to you on the front end. It's just a checkbox, so you can it's either checked or it's not checked. And then you can link that up to some sort of logic on the front end. Now, one of the important differences that we're hitting with checkbox is this default value. Your default value is going to be based on whatever the type of the setting is. So in the case of a checkbox, the type is a Boolean. So you pass in either true here or false for the default. And you do not put quotes around it. Booleans are not strings, so just make sure you do not put quotes around this. Now these next two I'm going to do together because they revolve around numbers. So we have range and we have number. So range is basically a stricter version of number where you provide a minimum, a maximum, and you provide a step. And the person customizing the theme will be able to slide between the numbers you specified in the specific increments or steps that you've determined. Number, on the other hand, just allows the person editing the theme to be able to put in whatever number they want. And the way these look on the front end are ranges right here, so you can slide between 1 and 10 in this case. And then number is here. I can either type in a number or I can just hit up and down to get a different number. And here's another example of when we stop using strings for values. And in this case, we're using numbers for values, the number type, right? So here we're putting in a 5. We're not putting it in quotes. We're just putting the number 5 there. And the same with step, min, and max. These all have to be numbers and not strings. And it's the same on this actual number type. You have to use a number. To keep this video short, I'm going to cut it into 2 parts. So make sure you keep an eye out for part 2, where we cover some of the more specialized settings. Don't forget, if you found the video helpful, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I'll see you next time.